Good afternoon. You're listening to the Inspirational Parent right here on your hometown station, KHTS. I am your host, Jasmine Urbina, here in the studio with my dad and co-host, Alex Urbina. Hi, Dad.
Hi, welcome back.
Thank you. It feels like forever since
That was
I've
a
been
great
gone.
vacation.
It's only been a
It's
week.
good to go on vacation, right? Especially when you deserve it.
It is. I needed a nice cleanse.
Nice.
Today, we are going to be talking about violence and threats and how to deal with them. But we have two very special guests in the studio today. We have Sarah Baez and Denise Morgana. They are from the organization Spirit Quest. Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for being here, ladies.
Thank you,
We're going to
Alex.
talk a lot more about your organization and all the amazing things you guys do a little bit later on in the show. I really want to talk about how to help parents and children and all people how to deal with violence and threats. And I also want to set the table. You guys are parents of kids that had to go through an ordeal. It was a threat that was made at the school yesterday locally in town, and it was probably a new experience for you. Is that correct?
Definitely new experience.
It was a definite new experience for us, especially after everything that we've seen on the news lately.
Right.
It's like we felt it was the universe way of letting us feel exactly
what it feels like.
what
Yeah.
it feels like to be a parent and to go through this ordeal. And it made our event that we are going to talk about even more important to share with you all.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about what are some of the parents, what are they going through? What are their thoughts? Because in the last 24 hours, you've been there and you were probably getting calls. And so tell us what's going on so we can try to make an attempt to help people make sense of this.
I think the feelings that are coming are anger, frustration, unknown, fear, sadness, and just people wanting to connect. Parents that I haven't heard from, that I don't normally hear from on a daily basis, are reaching out, and they just want to say, they want dialogue. They just look, they don't have anybody at home yet. Maybe they didn't get home because the husband's gone, they're working. They don't have anyone to release that with. And those of us that were fortunate enough to already just have dialogue and, we at least had that. Yesterday, I felt that I reached out, to Denise, and then we started to meet other moms and hear their stories. But some of them didn't. And those were the ones that were texting last night, and they're afraid.
Absolutely.
And they are really afraid.
So
And they also, again, like you said, this is something that we've never been through. And the school, they had never been through this. It was a new experience for all of us. And the police were very, very supportive, and the school staff was supportive. So you find that everybody's trying to do the best they can in a very, very tough situation. And then you've got the children. You've got the parents, what are they going through? And you've got the children who are, a lot of them are just blowing it off and saying, oh, no, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. And then as I noticed, my little granddaughter, she's 10, she started reenacting certain things with her dolls. They're in lockdown and so it's impacting the entire family. I'm a grandparent. So when I got to the line where we couldn't get in and get them, I had even texts of friends saying, don't do anything crazy. You know how you want to protect your babies. And there was so much emotion for all of us that we just didn't know what to do, because our hands were tied. We had to just wait and see what they were going to do. Wait and see what was going on in the school. We had no idea.
Yeah.
So the parents, the frustration and the fear, the amazing fear, is just, it permeates their beings and the air, because you could feel it as you came on. And you could feel what they were, there were people who thought, I've got the plan. I know what to do. And this will never have it to us again, But it was just amazing fear. And we found, we were having coffee, and a man came in, and I said, don't you have children at SCVI? And he said, yes. And I said, and how are you dealing with what just happened? And he said, I'm in shock. Mm-hmm. I'm in shock. And a lot of us were walking around in this daze because you didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. You couldn't have done anything to save them. Mm-hmm. And here you are knowing how vulnerable you are. And it's been really an amazing time for these parents, grandparents, the children.
Absolutely. I want to talk about two distinctive things. The first thing I want to talk about is fear. Mm-hmm. And the second thing I want to talk about is well, we'll get to that. Let me address the fear for a minute. Okay. When it comes to having fear, fear is natural, and fear is a way for us to have this emotion to let us know that something's wrong and it needs your attention. And so when we are experiencing fear, we got to learn how to allow ourselves to feel and experience our experiences without being in resistance to not wanting to feel it or feeling guilty for feeling it. But we got to start learning how to feel and experience fear and allow it to run its course. There's a distinction between feeling your fear and living your life fearful.
Yes,
you don't want to let fear linger so that you're living your life out of fear all the time, because living your life being fearful is exactly what the tension is for some of the people that are causing these threats, like the people that are, intentionally bringing that violence and those threats. They want us to be in fear, probably to feel the same kind of fear and pain that they're going through.
Right.
So that's their intention. So you got to decide that I'm going to allow myself to feel the fear in the moments where I'm afraid, but I'm not going to, I promise myself that I'm no longer going to allow that fear to continue to run me for the rest of my life. I got to learn how to, in a healthy way, surrender it and let it go, and let the fear happen in the moment that it was caused, and that I experienced it and I embraced it fully, and then I let it go. And then it frees me up to now live in a new moment. So
I've read a saying that said that fear does not keep you from dying, but it keeps you from living. It keeps you from really enjoying your life, because it can't stop any of the inevitable passing of somebody, but it can help you be so sad and so afraid and so not living your life because you are afraid and you won't go places. And there's been people now that say, oh well, that's it, I'm not going to Vegas now, or that's it, I'm not going to send my kids to school.
That's right.
Or that's it, I'm not going to. And before you know it, your whole fear has made you where you don't even need to go out of your house, because there is fear out there. So as you're saying, to live a fearful life will take away all your wonderful days.
That's right.
All the joy.
That's right.
All the amazing things that can happen in your life. Like my granddaughter, she's amazing. And she comes over and she hugs me and she tells me, so what are you going to do when you grow up? And I'm like, okay. Well, because her life is forward thinking, and forward thinking and love. And so if you live in your fear, you would never, ever experience those moments where she's giving you the love.
That's a great point. The second thing I want to address is how do we let the fear go? So fear of letting the fear go is actually a process. And so when you were describing the parents that are talking and reaching out and texting each other and communicating, that's a natural process of letting the fear go, so that what they're trying to do is make sense of what happened and go through these phases or this process where they get to let it go. And what I'm learning recently to a higher level is this word called grief. And I'm learning it from an amazing woman named Sharon Brubaker. She's a certified grief recovery specialist. And she's opened up this whole new world about how much grief we go through on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, and we don't even acknowledge it. Wow. And so what's happening was there's a lot of grief that's coming off of what happened yesterday. And grief is dealing with loss. That's basically what grief is. So let's talk about what loss could have happened yesterday. There was the possibility of the loss of security, the loss of safety, the loss of not being in control. So as you're standing there in line and they're coming out telling you, stay behind the line, you can't get your kids yet. Now you have to face the fear of, I'm not in control. I can't protect my babies, right?
Yeah.
So that loss, there was a bunch of loss that was happening yesterday, which is the example of what grief is. So you guys are grieving, whether you know it or not.
Yes, we are.
Now, the natural process of grieving is to talk about it. Create a safe, loving environment that's non-judgmental, where people can just talk and make sense of it. And what happens is, through that natural course, we learn how to get off of it, surrender it, let it go, so that it frees us up to move into a new moment and live in a new moment where we trust again. I think that's the process of what's going on.
That's so important. It's so important right now. If you can just reach out to a friend, to go to your dog, the love of really, I mean, I was
Absolutely.
watching my daughter yesterday, and she was just in such peace. find an animal, go outside, go hug a tree, go walk, and just, earth, whatever it takes. But
Get a notebook, write it out.
Write your feelings out.
Put your headphones on and listen to some music so that it brings up the emotions and allow yourself to cathartically let it go. There's a lot of ways to deal with that.
I think for some of the kids that were there, especially some of the older kids, one of the things is probably really common, at least I could see myself doing at their age, is kind of brushing it off as if it wasn't a big deal, but subconsciously it is, subconsciously you're afraid to go to school, or subconsciously you realized that in a classroom, the person you think might be able to protect you, like your teacher, actually can't protect you. And I think that those things are unconsciously going on their mind, but we pretend like as teenage. I'm not even a teenager anymore, but when I was there, I know that I would pretend that everything's okay. I would be, nothing happened. No one got hurt. It was just a threat. But those threats have consequences that affect not just the parents, but us as the kids.
You're right, and I think too. My grandson's 14. And I asked him how he was doing. Oh, I'm fine. But you could see the tension in his face. And so, I knew he wasn't fine. But until he can open up to me or to somebody else,
That's
which
right.
he might open up to somebody else
That's right.
and tell them, but I knew he wasn't fine. And so what I kept trying to do is just hold his hand and say, you know what, we're together. We're okay right now. But you're right. He won't tell you. Or, and another thing a lot of people do too is during the fear and the loss of control is they get angry and they lash out at whoever's around them. Well, why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you do that? Or why'd you send them to school? Or, why did you have this oatmeal in the morning? They get this fear because it's the sister to anger, and they just don't know how to deal with the fear. And so they get angry. And then now in the family, instead of it just being like, let me talk to you about my own fears, now we have to argue about our anger issues because, not all these other things get brought up because we are out of control.
I was invited to be a part of helping heal and create that space, to be a compassionate listener and help some of the kids make sense of it if they felt like they wanted to talk about it. And I went there today and I sat there for the first hour and no one came, and there were being announcements that I was there. And so what I did was I texted a friend of mine and said, I'm sitting here waiting for someone. I want to be used. I want to be utilized.
Yeah.
And what I realized was, and I texted to my friend and I said something like, I know that people that went through that experience are sharing it with somebody, hopefully a friend, or they're talking about it maybe in their class or before class starts, but they weren't reaching out to talk to it in a safe, loving environment, like a group kind of a thing. And then what I said, which kind of shocked myself, I said something like, it seems like we're starting to get used to this. And that's what really broke my heart, that there's a possibility that as human beings, we're getting used to having threats and violence being part of our world, that we're numbing out how heartbreaking that is and how scary it can be as human beings.
Did you hear that there were 17 threats since the Florida in Santa Clarita Valley? 17.
And I'm sure it's all across the country. It's probably tripled, quadrupled that number. It's just now starting.
I have a friend that goes to college, and she said the same thing is happening down there. There's all these threats being called in. And yes, since that. And we are becoming a little bit more callous to our feelings, whatever we're feeling, because, we just go on, move on. You still have to go on with it. Yeah. And it's very hard.
But let's talk about why are we having people that are calling and doing these threats? Could it be possible that we have an epidemic of people that are hurt and lost and angry and have alone and have disconnected themselves from humanity, and they're suffering silently around us? I watched a video the other day on social media, and you guys will probably have seen it, and those of you who are listening, some of you have probably seen it. It's a video of a beautiful story of a kid in high school who's writing little love letters on a desk to someone in a different period, and then a girl in a different period shows up and is writing back to them. So they're having this dialogue on this desk. And at the end of the year, the little boy is signing the girl's friend's notebook or her yearbook, and she recognizes his penmanship, right? And she goes, "Oh, you're the," and then calls him out. She goes, "Oh my God." And so it was a beautiful little story about two boy and girl who are like in love with each other's communication. And then right at the end of that, when you're saying, "Aw," they're in the gym and the door opens up and there's a kid with an assault rifle ready to shoot the place up. And what happens is they replay that whole video again, and behind the scenes, in every scene, there's a kid that is going to be that shooter at the end of that story. And it's showing a picture that none of you watch because we're not looking at the whole picture.
And it shows clues, like the kids on the computer looking up guns, the kids looking at a book about assault rifle. You know,
he's getting bullied in the back of other kids that are taking his backpack in every scene, and it wakes you up to go, wow, how unconscious am I that I'm walking around in life and I'm not looking to see the people that are suffering around us. Those are the ones that need help.
It's true. Well, that's what we wanted to say too. Is, I mean, everybody who went through that, everybody. Even the young man, that family that he lives with, all of those people need love.
Absolutely.
They need us to send them pink, wonderful light and love, because you know what? We are all connected.
That's right.
And if somebody is hurting, it will impact us. It's like the freeways. Somebody has a fender bender, they get crashed, we all back up. You know, there could be 2 hours on the freeway because somebody got hurt. And you say, well, how does that? But that is impacting us. Everybody impacts somebody else, and these people are impacting us because they're hurting.
And so and because they're hurting, there's a saying called "hurt people hurt people," and it's just a way for them to feel better about themselves, you know, subconsciously. And so in order for them to kind of ease that pain, they have to lash out on other people so that it makes them feel better about themselves.
And there also are other components too. Disconnecting families, where that way they can't talk to anybody in the family. And also there's the addressing of drugs. Like I had a friend that she was depressed and she went on antidepressants and she said she couldn't feel anything. So now a lot of our children are not only disconnected from the family, they are disconnected from their own emotions.
That's right.
Because of the drugs they're taking to make them, you know, for the antidepressants, but they also shut down your ability to be empathic. I mean, even I just read about Tylenol. Tylenol, one of the things it does is it makes you not feel other people. It numbs your empath. It numbs your compassion. So it might take your headache away, which is really, really nice, but it makes you so you can't see other people's needs. And that's what's also happening. So we have children who are fragmented. We have adults that are fragmented. And then you add into that because they're not feeling quite right. So their parents say, well, you know, you're not quite right. So why don't we give you this drug to help you feel it, to numb it, or to, you know, make you more normal. Because they don't understand them, and it's just too much work to try to understand them.
Yeah, and as much as I agree with the medication that's numbing us as human beings, even before the medication, we're also numbing ourselves naturally.
That's true.
And I'm seeing it firsthand in the training rooms, and I'll talk about it a lot about this one experience that I do. It's an experiential exercise where I have the kids stand in a line, and it's called the bus, and I'll say pizza, hot dogs, and then they just step off the bus, left side, right side, depending on which one they like. And when I get to the point where I say sad or happy, or I'll say crying or laughing, they'll all step 100% onto the laughing side. And when I go down the line and I ask them, why'd you choose happy? And they'll say, because I don't like crying. And when I started doing this work 20 years ago, it used to be 50-50. And now we're 100% where none of the kids, they've created this belief that crying is a bad thing. And so when you decide that, you put up walls and you numb out the mechanism called feeling and happy. But you're numbing out the whole emotion machine.
Right.
And so that's what's happening a little bit at a time is kids are starting to numb themselves.
I was going to say that, you know, growing up in those trainings and seeing, one, being a kid there with like my peers, and then now seeing the kids, you know, do the exercise, I kind of started to realize that as much as we're numbing, as much as we're trying to ignore it, there's a lot of us that we kind of live by the, you know, just for the job you want kind of personality of as long as I can pretend to be happy, maybe I'll be happy. And I think we've convinced ourselves so much, at least for my generation, that works, that that's a fact. And I don't necessarily think it's a fact unless you put in the work.
Right. Well, also there is a thing that we used to know a little bit. It's not the destination, it's the journey. That you're going to feel sad. You're going to do that. It's going to happen. But then you take and find a tool that'll help you go on to the next day. And that's what I was talking about the elders, is that we used to have elders that said, this too will pass. This too will pass. But you are going to feel sad. You are going to feel pain. But this can hold on, and tomorrow you'll feel better. And we don't seem to have anybody we can go to say that. The elders are, segregated, and there's nobody you can go to who say, when I did this, when I used this stuff, I got myself in trouble. And they don't have anybody to go and talk to. And even 40 and 50-year-olds, the people who are trying, the up and moving generation, they're disconnected from their elders. They don't have anybody that says, hey, you're going to be sad today, but tomorrow you'll be okay. But it's also a very economical sort of thing, that if you're sad, there's things you can do. You can go get the drugs, or you can not, pretend you're not sad, or you buy a new BMW. That's
Or you can have someone that teaches you how to feel your feelings,
right?
And it be okay anyway.
That's okay, and you'll survive.
And that tomorrow you're not
Yes.
going to the clouds are going to pass,
less.
the feelings aren't going to be there anymore,
Right.
and you're going to be okay tomorrow morning.
And you can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel sad, and you can cry, and it's going to be okay, and you can move on.
And anger, all the feelings. It's okay to feel all the feelings, and I think we're just living it right now as we speak. And I am as myself. I can only speak for myself, and it's just been a whirlwind of emotions, anger, sadness. I'm crying. I find myself, not understanding, but yet there's this glimmer of hope that I have, that I am here. And I want to be that flashlight. We want to be that flashlight of hope, because that's what it's about. 95% of people out there, if not 99.9, are wonderful beings. Come on, you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have to take a quick break, but stay tuned for more of the Inspirational Parent right here on your hometown station, KHTS.
Come join me, Arif Halby, for Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Every Tuesday at noon, we uncover ways to help you manage your money, get out of debt, and prepare for your retirement. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Are you not sure if you can retire yet? Listen to us and learn about tips for savings, retirement strategies, and so much more. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour on your hometown station, KHTS.
Genghis Khan Mongolian Barbecue and Chinese Buffet, healthy vegetables and lean meats, a low-carb treat. Create your own bowls with our delicious meats and always fresh vegetables. Then, blend in your own secret sauce. Feast at the all-you-can-eat buffet and barbecue for the same low price. A local favorite for over 25 years, Genghis Khan is still located on Lyons Avenue just east of the I-5. Enter between the Chevron and Shell gas stations. Come and see us soon at Genghis Khan.
Coming soon to the Canyon, Santa Clarita, Stone Temple Pilots, Wilson Phillips, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Andrew Dice Clay, Jefferson Starship, John Hyatt, Jim Messina, The Spinners, Doc Inn, Lynch Mob, English Beat, Sinbad, The Tubes, Ambrosia, Steve Tyrell, Melissa Manchester, Missing Persons, and many more. Plus soulful Sunday brunch every Sunday, country nights on Wednesdays, throwback Thursdays, and they're the perfect place to host your parties and special events. The Canyon, Santa Clarita, where music meets the soul. Tickets available through Ticketmaster.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inspirational Parent right here on your hometown station, KHTS. Today we are talking about violence and threats and how to deal with them with Sarah Baez and Denise Morgana. They're both from the organization Spirit Quest. This half of the show, I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what your guys' organization is about.
So thank you, Jasmine, for that introduction. We are so honored to be here, and we, as two just simple women, loving women, felt something back in September, when everything was happening with the earth and, all the natural disasters that were ongoing. And we felt something with the shootings right after Las Vegas shootings was when there's just something. We had an experience before all of that, though, at an event, a very local event, which I want to speak about. It's called Celestial Carnival. And it was just a very intimate setting of what we want to do. And they inspired us. And so
We were at In-N-Out Burger, and we decided we're going to do this. We're gonna.
Hey, I've had many breakthroughs
Yeah.
at In-N-Out.
I know. Yeah.
I have some great epiphanies at In-N-Out.
You got those French fries and the nice hamburger, and we had just been to the most inspirational event where there were healers and music, and just that you felt good being there. And so, since we were eating our hamburgers, we said, "Let's do this.
Yeah,
let's do this."
We said, how come we don't have anything like that over here for us in Santa Clarita? And with so many healers that we've been introduced to recently, and I know it's part of our journey of manifesting this energy for all of you, for our community. We just put it out there, and Denise went to the Newhall Library and created the flyer with the intention. We had no speakers. We knew nobody. That we just said, if it's going to be a picnic for us, we did it at Vasquez Rocks. This is what we want to do. We want to create like a picnic buffet setting where we can introduce alternative holistic healing. And that way, I know with Denise, we did meditation for the first time together. And I always saw it, but I was always afraid. Or maybe the taboo. Something weird is going to happen to you, or I don't know, I'm going to start floating or something. And so I'm like, can you come with me? Yeah. So we came to, went to meditation, and thus started the journey of healing, and just, hey, this is kind of cool. So then we made the event. Denise started reaching out to, you want to talk about how
what I did first is that it was going to be a picnic for me and Sarah. So we decided to do a play date. Just us, and her daughter and my granddaughter. And then I went to Yoga Works, and there's a teacher. Her name was Jackie, and she does like restorative. And I said, you know what? You're invited to come. Oh, she said, I'm working, but how about you get a hold of Harriet Knight? And she is a local psychic and medium. And I said, yes, that's fine. And so we opened it up and said, hey, guys, you want to come play? You want to come play? Yeah. And they said, sure. And we didn't know who was going to be there. We had absolutely no expectations. And we had 100 people come, bringing people in wheelchairs for the healing. And, I mean, kids coming and playing.
She got it on the Signal. She went and took the flyer and said, I'm going to go take it to the Signal, and I'm going to post it. And they did. It was a community event. And we're new at this. I mean, we're not new at certain things, but this is new for us. And the intention was just so powerful. It was just this, wow, these doors started opening for us. And then we got introduced to Mary Tan, and then to Jessica Rader, and then to Bree Lizald, and Angelita Weber. They're all local people, which I'm sure if you're listening, you know them. They are inspirational and just have the biggest hearts.
And Jeff,
Jeff,
our herb guy, he's over here at the library on Saturday, and he's got herbs. So I went over and
I might need an herb guy.
Oh. Yeah,
you got your own herb guy?
I was just going to say,
I need one
what's
of
this
those.
Jeff? Does he have a last name?
Jeff
Mazursky. Yes, he's
Yes.
Jeff.
And I walked up to him, and what was cool about this is our journey started, and I walked up to him and I said, what are popular herbs? And he says, what's wrong? What's wrong that you need this? What is happening to you? And so he kind of put it back into perspective that if you want to heal yourself, you have to heal yourself. You have to know what it is that you're.
Yeah, he wants to meet you where you're at, not just give you anything.
Not just give you, what's popular.
Right.
And I even went to a nursery, and somebody was in there. She said, well, I want to grow, what's the popular thing? And the woman looks at her, she goes, what do you like to eat? She said, no, I want to grow popular. Then she said, no, you grow what you want to eat.
Nice.
And that's her, and that's Jeff. You need something, here's what you need. And that's, we've met every healer. They're very responsible, and they look at you, and many of them are intuitives, and they say, what do you need? Let me help you with what you're looking for. Do you want Reiki? Do you want, some sort of energy work? And we've met such amazing humans, and they just want to give back.
Yes, this experience also just opening up to my coworkers even and my boss. This is a story with her that I showed her the event and I said, we're going to do this and that and Reiki and all this earth thing. She's like, what's Reiki? And then she lifts her hand and she shows me her leg. Her leg had all these little Band-Aids, those circular Band-Aids, and it's a type of color therapy that's coming from Japan, Saori therapy it's called, and apparently it's a therapy that they're using. They have lots of documentation now that they're able to start shrinking tumors, brain tumors, breast cancer tumors with fabric colors. So which kind of tells you we're energy beings.
Absolutely.
There's something to the energy work that these body workers or whatnot are doing or trying to help us, guide us so that we can actually function on this earth level. So it was funny to me, though, that she didn't even know what Reiki was yet. She believed enough that this is taking away all her hip pain. And it was. She had, a cortisone shot a couple weeks before. It wasn't doing the trick, unfortunately. And she did. Said it's gone. 24 hours, my pain was gone. Okay.
What I'm also noticing is that with our walk, because we're so enthusiastic about stuff, because we did another treatment, she'll talk to you about that. We went to a healer that checks out your belly button. That was bizarre. But anyhow, but we're trying new things. But do you know the dialogue of people who say, oh my gosh, I've done this, but they won't talk about it until you say, oh, have you ever tried this? So it's opening up all kinds of people's information and the dialogues that they have in their own little private world of healing, things they've tried and things that have worked for them. So they're willing to come and share it with us, but they wouldn't share it until we told them about other things.
That's right.
Because they were a little bit nervous that we were going to judge them. And so that was one of the funnest things about our last event at Vasquez Rocks is people came and said, hey, I do this. I do the singing bowls. And go, bring it. And that might help vibration for somebody else. You have a tool. We're thinking, if you're in the dark, if somebody gives you a flashlight, you still have to walk out of the darkness, but you have a light. You have hope. And that's what these healers do. They'll look at you, they'll intuitive, say, how about have you ever tried this? And that's what's so exciting about this event that we're going to have next and the last event is that they have one particular thing that they do very well, and they'll share it. And they'll say, have you tried? And that's been so exciting.
We need more people like you that just decide that they've had enough and that have decided to be audacious enough or courageous enough to say, maybe I can make a difference or I want to make a difference. I might not know how or where to start, but I'm going to start somewhere and then just decide that you're going to position yourself in a certain way and that you're just going to start from scratch and trust that process. I like to call it flying your freak flag. Like for me, it was like once I flew my freak flag, it was like other freaks are like, hey, there's a freak flag, that's my tribe, right?
Exactly.
That's
and you just
amazing.
gotta decide to go, I'm just gonna fly this up and this is what I'm about. And my flag might be a freak flag, but it's authentic. It's authentically who I am. And you're gonna start to draw those people to you and around you, and you're gonna start to have other healers and other people that want to contribute and make a difference in the world.
Yes, when I was talking to somebody I knew in my past, and they said, just when I thought you were weird, you went and got weirder on me.
But it's funny because only weird people have the audacity to change the world.
That's true.
They have the confidence to not care about what other people think about them, and they're just going to be focused on having a vision. And if your vision is to change the world, you're going to do that. And one day you might wake up and realize there's other people that also subscribe to that same weird channel, and we're all going to just go and
it's been
contribute.
So amazing. The people we've met, and and it's so funny because we didn't know them 6 months ago, and now they're our support team. They write to us. They wrote to us yesterday after the event, at the school, and they're like, how are you doing? What can I do to help you? And it's been just magic. And then we're watching, too, which is interesting, we're watching the people around us sort of change to kind of Okay, you're weird, but we're going to hang. Okay, now you're weird and you're doing this, but okay, well, have you ever tried this? And they're opening it.
What's
too,
funny
so
is
it's
that
so
we
funny.
all have weird in us. And I think that's what allows you to hang around long enough. Because you go, okay, you're weird, but I'm just going to hang a little long enough until finally one day you go, wait a minute, I got that same weird in me.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe that weird is just being authentic.
That's-
And let's
yeah.
put down all of the egos and the personas that we try to pretend to be, and let's just be who we are. And if you learn how to peel away those layers, you get down to spirit.
Yep.
That we're
There's
all
a-
one spirit, right?
Yeah,
There was
we
a
are.
writer
Yeah.
in the 70s and 80s. His name was Leo Biscaglia, and he was the love doctor. And he said, I mean, he taught classes.
the love doctor.
Oh my gosh, you've got to read him. He's amazing. And he taught classes at UCLA or USC on love. And he said, I'm only a facilitator because you can't teach love, but you can see what people think about it. And so he went and he taught classes. And it was just, his books are inspirational. They're wonderful. But he said, what is love is when you get back to who you were in the beginning.
Yep.
Is to get back to loving yourself to who you were in the beginning. You know, and that's one of the neatest things. And one of the things we're trying to do too is I have this analogy about giving the light is my grandfather was a coal miner and he was trapped in the mine. And he could not get out. I mean, he was the most magic man. He could do anything. But he had to wait for his friends and family to dig him out. And that's what we're doing as friends and family. If somebody is in the dark, we'll try to give you a tool. We'll try to be there for you. Because there's times you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
You have to wait till somebody can be there for you.
We want people to know, at least in our community here in Santa Clarita, that during the times of trouble, of sadness, of depression, that we have such amazing healers already and organizations and just this opportunity to be able to put them all in a little buffet at a park. It's going to be just a very light-hearted opportunity for you to just look at it and with wonder and glitter and sparkle and just go, ooh, let's go play there. Let's go for the nature hike, guided, meditation up there, and let's do this drum circle or let's just have a jam session here and play and and feel the music. There's just, it's going to be a plethora of real love.
It is.
And it's a free event, so it will be available for you to just, take your family, go yourself, take your kids, have them watch you.
What's the date?
March 17th right now, and it will be announced as far officially at which park or location, so please stay tuned.
Oh, you're going to tease us. I like teases. I
But
like
we've got the
teases.
date, and
We got
it's
the date.
St. Patrick's Day.
Okay,
and
perfect.
It's the
Yeah,
Day of Love.
so mark your calendar and then just follow up
Yeah.
with where? Where do we go to get that information?
You
Where are
can
gonna
go
post
to
it?
our Facebook page at Spirit Quest, and I believe the last three digits are 779. So
Okay.
Spirit
Spirit
dot
Quest.
Quest and then 779. So you can search us there, and we'll be posting also the lineup of speakers and presenters and organizations. We have a frequency bed that it is a holistic science, I think it's called. I'm still learning. We have about more than 22 presenters already.
Wow.
In line.
That's awesome.
And vendors, and so we're gonna have just kind of some cool stuff for you guys to hear.
Yeah, and so
heal.
if you're listening to this broadcast and you feel like you need to be there, or you're intrigued, or maybe you're suffering, whether it's mentally, emotionally, even spiritually or physically.
Yes.
I know that there's some people that are suffering with chronic pain that if they just open their mind to other alternative ways to heal yourself, I've heard so many stories come out of that way of thinking and being open-minded to try new things.
Right.
One of the healers, we were doing the bios yesterday, and Jamie Dubin, haven't met her yet, but she does breath work and sound healing through frequency, and she apparently that's what she does, physical illnesses.
Beautiful.
I think she herself had that journey and found that through sound and frequency and breath and just breathing helped her to heal.
I was going to piggyback off of what you were saying, Dad, about, even if you're not sure and you're kind of just like, I don't know, maybe this is weird, but it might work, and you decide like you want to go. One of the things I wanted to say to that was just that I remember when I was younger, my grandpa was struggling with cancer, dying of cancer. And we tried crazy stuff on him because we were desperate, because nobody wanted to let go. And it almost blows my mind because we wait until it's too late.
Right,
You
right.
know, like we did that the last couple months, but he struggled for a year, you know. So for me, it's almost like, why don't you just try it? It's not going to hurt you.
No.
You know, so
and if you don't like it, just like we did with, certain things, we were like, oh, that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
I'm gonna piggyback on that too. You got to try everything because you're your best champion. You're your best cheerleader. You have to look out for yourself. You have to take responsibility for your own healing. We tried everything with my dad, from magic mud that we rubbed off his body to the magnet water that he drank, and I mean, you name it, anything that was coming out, but it was a collective commitment that we all made, that we rallied around him, and we were on the internet looking for anything. And so be mindful and take responsibility for your own wellness and the people around you, and come out. It's like you said, it's free. Come take a look.
Bring an open mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just have fun.
Yeah.
And also,
That's
we
it.
get back to living life is so important. I mean, and sometimes we don't start doing anything until there's an end, but that whole year you could have been playing with him and taking him places and just enjoying him. And yes, the treatment's important, but so is the living.
Yeah,
That's
no, absolutely.
so
No, we
important.
did. I dragged that guy everywhere.
That's
I said, I'm gonna your last whatever, how much time they gave you. We're open to having more and them being wrong.
Yeah.
But every week we were taking him somewhere. Yeah.
You were loving him.
Absolutely.
How exciting is that? And there was a man named Norman Cousins. Maybe you've heard of him. And he was in the 60s. And they told him he had 3 months to live. And so he went and got a movie projector and started watching movies. And he watched the Marx Brothers. He watched the Three Stooges. And it bought him 26 years of life.
Yeah.
And he said, regardless of whether or not it was a longer life, I laughed through it.
Absolutely.
And it was just laughing therapy. And he had a great time. And if you think about that, he might have been worried all the time that he might not make it, but he was laughing through it, And that's an amazing therapy, laughing and singing and dancing and getting rid of your stress. I mean, really, just living. That's all we have. That's all we know for sure. Is that we're here right now.
That's right.
And let's kind of dig it, right?
Yeah, let's be in the present moment.
Yeah.
Let's give ourselves permission to connect to each other deeply and speak honestly. A lot of times we don't give ourselves permission to tell our loved ones, hey, I really appreciate you. If I didn't have you in my life, I don't know what I'd do with myself. Like, for whatever reason, we don't give ourselves the courage to speak so candidly like that. And we never know from one day to the next if we're not going to be here.
So I just want to say one last thing that was a breakthrough moment for us for this next event was the other one that we did back in October was for adults, for everyone. Afterwards, after the event, there were so many synchronicities and just wonderful things that were happening. But then there were not so wonderful things. So we were touched in our warm circle of suicide was just really hitting us home. And so my gut feeling was, Denise, I really think that we need to do the next one towards the teens and young adults, that we need to do the same thing. Just bring it to them. And my niece, who I invited here today, she couldn't leave from school though, is 15, came to that event. She did a one-on-one meditation with us, which was very powerful, with Angelita, and she left and she loved it. The whole day was fantastic. 2 weeks later, she texts me and she's like, Tia, I healed myself. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Because I don't even know how to do that. Like, how come you got to do that? And she said, I did. She says, I've been having, I suffer from migraines, she said, and I've just had one for the last 3 days. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to do this. So she laid down on her bed, is how she described it to me. And she put her hand on her ear with her head on the bed and just started to do the sana que sana culito de rana, thing that we do in Spanish.
Right.
And she said in about 15 minutes, she says, I was able to turn on the light and do my homework. And that to me was like, whoa, can you imagine the power?
But what a testimony to how powerful we are as human beings and spiritual beings, right?
Yes. Yeah. It was
We
really
have to take a
awesome.
quick break, but stay tuned for more of the Inspirational Parent right here on your
Curita
hometown station, KHTS.
Santa Clarita, bedbugs are taking over our city. They've invaded our homes, our businesses, and most importantly, our sleep. If you have suspicious bites that appear nightly, or have a bug that you need ID'd, your best option is to make one call to All Pro. We offer a 100% guarantee that your bedbug issues will be solved with heat in one treatment. No need to tent or spray your house with chemicals. Heat is all you need. Call 661-298-2200 or text me a bug picture to 661-645-0540. It's time to sleep tight again, SCV.
There are times when nothing else will do because you know exactly what you want. You want the Alamo, the taste of true Mexican cooking at its best. At Alamo, you're treated to a taste that is truly Mexican with an atmosphere to match. Enjoy a Cadillac margarita, try a mucho burrito, or sizzling fajitas. Voted the best Mexican food in the SCV and a favorite of former supervisor Mike Antonovich. Alamo Rotisserie in Granary Square, serving Santa Clarita for over 30 years.
Team training, life changing. F45 Training Stevenson Ranch on Lyons Avenue, just east of Wiley Canyon. At F45, they have fun. They've created their very own way of functional training so you can train the way you move in everyday life. The F45 style combines both strength and conditioning. Working with friends, you can be assured of results, not boredom. Download the F45 app today. Select Stevenson Ranch in the 2-week trial and book into classes right away. F45 Training Stevenson Ranch. Come join the family.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inspirational Parent right here on your hometown station, KHTS. Today we are talking about violence and threats and how to deal with them. But I want to go into a little lighter side, Dad, and have you open your gift from Sarah and Denise.
Yeah, that's
our
pretty cool.
lovely guests.
I got a gift. I'm probably gonna guess. Should I guess?
You can guess.
What's the thing you light? The sage.
The sage.
Is that-
It's like a
smudge
stick.
Smudge stick. Do you guys have experience with smudge sticks?
Yes, we do. Actually.
Really? Talk about that.
Well, let me tell you another thing.
Denise
There's a neat substance. It's also like a smudge stick, but it's bay leaves. Bay leaves are amazing. In Greece, they used to chew on them, and they could tell the future. And if you burn bay leaves for 10 minutes, it changes the entire frequency of your house. And there's another one, too, that's not just bay leaves. There's another thing that cleans out area. It's called mugwort. And you can it's in a stick. And it's a mugwort stick, and it clears the energy. That's another one. And then there's
Bacteria,
sage.
too.
It's one of those weird things that they named it something so weird I can't wrap my head around it. Okay, the gift is being opened.
Wow, look, there's even colors in there too.
There you go.
It looks like is it a wand
It
with a
is.
crystal?
Yes.
Wow.
And it's got your chakra colors on it. So.
Wow, that's
Okay,
amazing.
explain the function for me
Yeah.
and our listeners.
That's pretty cool.
Magic.
Magic. It's a tool. I
It's
think
a
it's just a
tool.
reminder, and that you are powerful, and that you have magic.
Thank you
and
so
just
much for
wave
that.
it and
Wow.
make your wish.
Also,
Possible.
with the
Everything's
chakra
possible.
Colors, each chakra is an energy circle in our body. We have 7 chakras. There's many more, but the 7 major chakras.
Right.
And each one has a different function, and so each ribbon is like an indication of your chakra color.
So I went probably maybe 18 to 20 years ago. I went and did some chakra energy work, and I'll just explain my understanding of it. Be careful with my crystal, girl.
They don't make
I'm
them.
sorry.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like each one of your chakra has an energy that spins.
Right.
And your spinning cycle could either get stuck or reversed.
Right.
And so the healer, I guess, has a crystal
Or we have a pendulum.
pendulum, and it'll verify which way it's going, and then he or she does their job to open them up so that we are able
Yes.
to receive energy.
We've done that.
There's
actually.
many ways of doing that.
Yeah, there's many
Really?
ways of opening.
There's
What
many
we
ways.
did an event, and we could do it with our pendulum. And you could feel where there was a blockage. And then with color therapy, Sarah would put different colored materials on you,
Fabrics.
and then it could open your chakras. Again, they would let you know which each chakra. She would explain to you which each chakra stood for. And there's the base chakra.
So
the root
unblock
chakra.
yourself. If you want to be unblocked in your energy, go get your chakras
Go get
realigned.
aligned. You can do them yourself by so many ways. We've learned along this journey is by sound, by Kundalini yoga. They use a movement. It's so simple, and it's supposed to be good for Alzheimer's and dementia. And it's just a chant that they do repetitive, and it's sa ta yama, sa ta nama, sa ta nama, sa ta nama. We did that repetitive for about 5 minutes, I think.
Yes.
And it's supposed to also calm your mind, and I don't. There's just all this
It
stuff out
sounds
there.
in sync with the Om, right?
Yes,
Yeah, there's the frequencies that you just chant, and when you get them dialed in, it's like the
Correct.
universe just goes, all right, you're channeling all this beautiful energy towards you,
Yes.
and it could be healing too.
And what's really
Makes you feel
cool
better.
about this walk that we're doing is that there are different ways to do different things, to open up your chakras, to work with your energy, to balance yourself. I mean, and we used to do this, when you were a kid, your mom would say, take a deep breath and just calm down. And that's really powerful.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're trying to do is take a deep breath. I mean, there's a lot of things going on out there, but if you take a deep breath and know that your energy source is you, it's part of you, and you're not disconnected. It's not just you're alone.
So we got to
Your
learn how to
energy source.
open ourselves up in so many ways. Imagine that our whole body, both physically and spiritually, has all these little things that could be shut down, and we go in there and just start flipping switches and opening everything up.
Right.
How profound can your life be? Right.
It completely opens up your life. It makes you a better person to your family, to yourself, to your coworkers. If you are aware of those things, and I think that's what we've learned along this journey too, is because we're learning. This is all new to us too. There is some profound knowledge out there, guys. Go and check it out. There's ancient knowledge about color therapy, just so basic as that. The Chinese, there's just so much out there. Just go and play.
Well,
Go
thank you
figure it out.
for coming and sharing that
Yeah.
with us. Appreciate it.
Before we have to leave, I want you guys to give our listeners any way to contact you, follow up with events. Is that going to be through your Facebook page? Do you have a website?
Yes.
What's the best way?
The best way to contact us right now is through Spirit Quest, and also check back with KHTS and on their website as well, because then we'll get the official flyer up there.
Okay.
And that way they can see it. It will be on March 17th, so just block out from 12:30 to 5 is the intention. And thank
Secret
you.
location.
It's going to be a secret location.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you guys for joining us. I'm so excited for this wand. My sister's gonna love it.
Oh,
I can't wait to wave it over her.
there you go. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're gonna have to fix it.
But thank you everyone for joining us today. We're here every Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. right here on your hometown station, KHTS.